Hannah. I'm so glad you came in today. My name is Whitney Green, and I'm going to be your social worker. Before we get started, I do need to go over the confidentiality agreement. More than less, anything that you say in this room will stay in this room and will not be talked about anywhere else. Unless, of course, there's a threat to another person, to yourself, or a child, or anything like that. Is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what brings you here?
Well, my supervisor has been having a lot of problems with my drinking and like concerns about me at work. And he didn't say it outright, but basically was like, you need to go do something about this, or like I might get fired. So I'm kind of just didn't know what to do, just came here to hopefully like save my job because I really need this job.
So it sounds like your supervisor does care about you and is concerned about your alcohol consumption as it is affecting your employment.
Yeah.
And it sounds like this really wasn't your choice to be here, and you're not sure how much of a problem your alcohol usage really is.
Yeah, I would say that.
Okay. So could you tell me more about what drinking looks like for you during a typical week?
Well, I just got out of college like 2 years ago, and I would do a lot of like social drinking and partying and stuff like that. And I feel like I drink kind of the same. But I feel like now people don't really drink like that anymore. So I don't know. But like after work, I always like go with coworkers or friends if they go with me, or I'll just go alone to the bar and I'll get like a couple of beers and stuff like that pretty much every day. And lately, I think it's just become more of me drinking alone because people don't want to go with me. And I feel like I need a drink after work or even when I get home. And sometimes even before work, when I'm going into work, I feel like I just need it to get through the day.
Okay, so it sounds like drinking is a part of how you unwind after work and how you get through your day of work. And it also sounds like you like to socially drink with your friends and colleagues. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So, on the one hand, drinking does help you relax and feel more comfortable. But on the other hand, it sounds like it's starting to affect things that matter to you, like your job and even possibly your friendships, because you said that they have started really not wanting to hang out with you as much.
Yeah, for sure. And even like my relationship with my husband has been really strained recently from drinking. Like he's just upset that I'm out like every night at the bar or just coming home drunk. And he's been really upset about it. And it's been a strain on our relationship.
Yeah, I can understand that. So, aside from your husband, what other family members do you have that you can readily count on for?
Um, I'm pretty close with my family and my parents, but they live pretty far away. They live like 8 hours away in another state, so I don't get to like see them in person ever. I call them occasionally, but not as often as I wish I could. Um, my husband is a pretty good support and he does want me to quit. It's just a strained relationship right now. And then I talk to his parents occasionally because they live here for help, but I don't talk with them much other than that.
Okay, so it does sound like you do have a support system with your family, sometimes with your husband's family, and then, of course, it sounds like your husband's a really big support and he cares about your well being.
Yeah, he definitely does.
So, what are some good things that you feel like come out of you drinking?
It's definitely a good way to unwind. Like I feel just more relaxed when I drink and more just like my shoulders drop and I don't have to worry about anything in that moment. Um, it's I love going out with friends and drinking. It just feels like a way for me to connect with friends and be with them. And it's very social for me, or at least it used to be more social for me. Um, yeah,
Okay. So it sounds like it helps you unwind after work and it's just more of a social thing that you like to do to basically bond with friends.
yeah.
Okay. So, what are some of the not so good things that you've been able to see?
Definitely the strained relationship with my husband. It's been not fun. My job has been tough. Yeah, stuff like that.
Okay. So, that's a lot of insights. And it seems like you're able to see both sides pretty clearly, which is a huge strength. So, if you were able to make some kind of change, any change at all, what would that look like for you?
And if I could stop drinking like entirely, that would be great. But I don't know if I see that happening.
So, what do you feel like would improve if you were able to stop drinking entirely or even just cut back?
If I were to stop drinking, I think my relationship with my husband would improve, my job would be going better, I would have more opportunities at work that I don't have now. I'd be able to see my family more often because they live far and maybe even talk to them more often. Definitely all of those things.
Yeah. So, all those things sound like really meaningful changes that you want to make. What makes you think that you could stop drinking?
Um, my husband, I feel like he's a big support and I think he would just like hold me accountable and would help me a lot with that.
Yeah. Do you feel like you could always depend on your husband? Maybe like him helping you by, like holding you accountable with, checking in on you?
Definitely, yeah, he would definitely be willing to do that and has even suggested things like that. I've just been really unwilling to start anything like that.
Okay. And can you identify maybe like three of the best reasons you can think of to stop drinking alcohol? Like what would motivate you to stop drinking alcohol?
I think three of the best reasons or motivations would be one, my husband and mine's relationship. Um, Two would be my job and just my ability to work well there and not get fired. And then would be the third would be to getting to go see my family more often.
Yeah. So it sounds like, you have some really important goals that you want to work towards, like rebuilding the relationship with your husband, being able to go see family, and potentially not being considered to be fired at your employer. Like you want to keep your job and you really like
Yeah.
your job. Okay. So I'm going to do a scale on you, and you're going to answer these questions on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the worst, with 10 being the best. So on a scale from 1 to 10, how important is it for you right now to reduce or stop your alcohol consumption?
I feel like it's really important. I would say like an 8.
So an 8 sounds like it is very important to you. Okay. And we'll come back to that in just a moment. So, on a scale from 1 to 10, how confident are you that you would succeed at reducing or stopping your alcohol usage?
I would say like a 2 or a 3.
Okay. And we'll come back to that one as well. And on a scale from 1 to 10, how ready are you to start making this change?
Maybe like a 5.
So the first question I asked you was how important it is for you right now to reduce or stop alcohol consumption. Um, you answered an 8. So that does sound like it is pretty important to you. So why would you not rate that lower, maybe like a 5 or a 6?
I think I rated an 8 just because I know the stress it's putting on my relationship, my job, and, like, I could lose my job if I don't. Like, I understand that it is important, and I do need to change this just to keep my job, to keep my relationships, so I know it's important to do.
Yeah, and that's really big of you to be able to realize that, these are the potential consequences, that if you don't, or if you aren't able to make the change. The next question that I asked you was how confident are you that you would succeed at reducing or stop using alcohol altogether? And you answered a 2 or 3. Can you talk more about why you would rate it as a 2 or a 3 instead of maybe like an 8, like the last one?
Well, I do know it's really important to change, but I just know it would be really hard, and I just don't think I could do it.
Okay. So it sounds like you realize that, you do want to make these change and this change does need to be made, but at the same time, you feel like it is hard. What do you feel like you would struggle with the most with making this change?
I just feel like I've tried to stop drinking even for like a day or just like tried to go a day without. And it's just really hard. Like I just like crave another drink or just feel like I need it to relax. Like I can't relax without it. And so I just feel like it would be really difficult to go longer.
Okay. And that's understandable too. Anytime, you make changes, there's always going to be some barriers or things like that. And we just kind of have to work through to overcome those hurdles. Um, the next question that I asked you was, how ready are you to start making change? And you answered a 5. Why are we at a 5 on that one instead of maybe like an 8?
I feel like because of my answer for the last one, I know how hard it will be to change. So I'm ready to do that because I need to, but also kind of not ready because I don't know that I can. So that's why I just kind of put it in the middle of the line, like a 5.
Okay. So it sounds like you are aware that, it could potentially be hard to change your alcohol consumption. Um, so is there a time ever in your life that you have accomplished something that you felt was hard for you at the time, but somehow, some way you were able to come over that challenge?
I feel like just getting a job after college was really difficult. There just weren't a lot of openings in my field, and so like I really had to like look for a job, go to a ton of interviews, and like it was a lot of hard work to find this job, and I really loved this job that I got. But I was able to like find this job and like get this job that I really loved. That was it was really difficult to get and to find.
Yeah, and that's a really big strength that, although that the job was hard and difficult to find, you were still able to gain that job and you didn't give up. So that's a really big strength. Um, so based on everything that we talked about today, we talked about, your strained relationship with your husband, your family living far away, your alcohol use, like before work, after work, on the weekends with colleagues and friends. Um, so based on all of that, where do you feel like you would like to start with working toward, building a treatment intervention for you as like either short-term goals, long-term goals? Where do you feel like you would want to start at?
Well, I definitely eventually need to like fix things with my job and quit drinking for sure. But something that is like important to me to work on is my relationship with my husband because I think that's like affects my everyday more than some of the other things. Just like that just feels really important to me to fix that relationship.
Okay. So it sounds like your main goal right now is to fix the relationship with your husband. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Okay. And it sounds like that alcohol is a big impact and puts a strain on that relationship.
definitely. I would say that.
Okay. So where do you feel like the first step would be for you to stop or reduce drinking alcohol to build a relationship with your husband, or you feel like you could cut back? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
I think my first step, yeah, would just be to cut back. I don't know that I could just like quit completely
Yeah.
immediately, but maybe like cutting back and like having my husband check in on me that I'm cutting back. And maybe just like not going to the bar after work, like just coming straight home after work, instead of like going to the bar like I normally do.
Okay. How many days a week do you feel like you could cut back?
I don't know. Maybe like only going to the bar like 3 times a week.
And do you feel like doing check-ins with your husband would help, or him checking in with you, or say like there is a time that you want to go to a bar on the fourth night when you said only three? Do you feel like, you could reach out to your husband and him?
Yeah, I feel like I could. I feel like he would um be very supportive of me not going and helping me to be able to do that.
Okay. Um, so what else do you feel like could be beneficial for you?
I feel like something else that could be beneficial for me is maybe replacing some of the times I want to go out. Because sometimes I want to go out because I want to be with friends. So maybe if like we could just do an activity that's not at the bar, like maybe going to watch a movie or something instead.
Yeah, that sounds like a really great idea. Just replacing that with something else to do. Um, so that sounds like a really good idea. Um, well, I just want you to know that I'm also here to support you in any way I can. And I feel like we are taking important steps to achieving your goals as far as like having your husband check in with you, cutting back on how many times you go out and are introduced to alcohol usage. So I feel like that's a really great place to start. How do you feel about coming back in next week and we reassessing if we need to, or reevaluating these goals?
Yeah, I think that would sound good to meet next week. And I think I would be able to achieve those goals or at least like start trying to achieve those goals.
Yeah, of course. And like I said, if something happens and you aren't able to achieve those goals like the first week, we can reassess and go from there to see what benefits you, because at the end of the day, this treatment is directed towards you and I want you to make goals that are achievable for yourself. How does that sound?
Yeah, that sounds good. Definitely. And it sounds like these goals are pretty oriented to the things that I want to help and focusing on my husband and my relationship there when that's really what I want to fix, even though I'm kind of coming in just because my work wants me to.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I will see you next week.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.